Well, I grew up in eastern Pennsylvania along the Delaware River. Lived there until I went to college, also in Pennsylvania. I went to Dickinson College in Carlisle. I graduated a long time ago from Dickinson with a language major. Moved to DC. I got a job working in the international telecommunications business as a bilingual secretary. Back then it was hard for women to break into a corporate environment. Started out that way and worked my way up a corporate ladder for about 20 years. By the time I decided to retire, I was Vice President of International Relations and traveled all over the world and had a very fulfilling career and really enjoyed it. Along the way, I met my husband at church at Presbyterian Meeting House. We got married and had our first daughter, and I was still working and traveling internationally, and that was still fun, but I really wanted to be home. And so after our second daughter was born, I decided to take early retirement. It took about 10 years off from a corporate career. My daughters both went to Burgundy Farm Country Day School. So I was, volunteered and did all the fundraising and was on the board there for a very long time. And then when they were a little bit older and were not needing me to be home so much, I decided to get back into the workforce again. I want to do something more with my life, but I don't need to go back into a corporate environment. I want to give back a little bit. And I had the challenge of taking care of my mother-in-law in her later years and also my mother, and saw that older women in particular sometimes were alone and didn't have a daughter or a daughter-in-law to help them out. And so I started a small LLC doing daily money management for older adults. That's when I met Janet Barnett. And Janet and I talked about whether I could help out at Senior Services. And she hired me for a 6-month contract as a consultant to set up a database of information for SSA so that they could be responsive to inquiries that came in for resources. And so I did that for about 3 or 4 months, and I said, okay, Janet, I think you've got everything you need. Janet kind of reels you in. And so I really have her to thank for the career I have. What I found was that the corporate background that I had and business management skills that I had really made me uniquely positioned to help SSA move to the next level. Janet had set up a great foundation, and when she decided to retire from SSA, I moved into the executive director role. And really I feel like everything I've done has really prepared me for being at SSA. Janet started, the idea of we need to be doing more. Where are there gaps in services for older adults? And so the first thing that we worked together on was a speaker series. And that was really, I think, transformational because it allowed us to be able to be responsive to inquiries, but it also solidified relationships with other nonprofits and city agencies. We now have senior information corners. We have a monthly speaker series and a senior academy every year. The real crown jewel, if you will, is our senior ambassador program, where we train representatives for their communities and then communicate with them every week to share information. And we have over 200 senior ambassadors now, so that program has just been terrific. I think one of the great things about the programs that we've developed is when we identify a need, we look to see, is there somebody else that we could partner with in the city? Because we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If you have a great organization like Alive that gets food out to the community, we work together with them to say, how can we better serve seniors together? The great thing about Alexandria is the way nonprofits work together so that we can better serve the community rather than compete with one another. I really love what I do, and I enjoy being able to help people and just being able to make a difference because of the connections that we have and the wonderful support that we get from city government and other nonprofits. It's really rewarding. My husband retired a couple of years ago, and he enjoys retirement. I like being active and involved, and if I can send a text message to the sheriff because I need help with Meals on Wheels one day, or the police chief, and know that I have those kinds of connections in the community that can really make a difference. It's kind of hard to give up. I like what I do.